going too fast. I'm taking 3.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Izumo. Yes, Izumo. I finally bought her, and I mean, in the early game, yeah, I minimized out of the game because I couldn't remember if I recorded, but anyway, in early World of Warships, when the Izumo was first introduced, there were a lot of issues with the Izumo, specifically the armor and all that lovely stuff, but since then, the Izumo has gotten some changes to her, and as of recently, some of the members in NGA had also gotten themselves Izumos, and it was sort of still a mixed bag as to whether or not people actually still enjoyed the Izumo, or if the Izumo is considered a quote-unquote good ship. Now, some people in the clan agree that, yeah, great ship, others say no. I'm on the side of the fence that agrees that the Izumo is a great ship. What we're looking at here is stock Izumo. Commander isn't even trained. The only thing I have going on here with this Izumo is I've got all the modules purchased for her, or rather upgrades purchased for her, those things. I've got all that purchased. It's just the commander. This is his last battle before he's fully retrained, and the ship itself is stock. Wait. No, she's not stock. I have the engine upgrade, yes, because that makes a big difference, I know. So I have the engine upgrade on the Izumo, that's it. Now, the Izumo, at the time when she was introduced in the game, she was the first ship to feature all of her guns on the front of the ship, nothing on the rear. Now, since then, we've had the addition of the Dunkerque. So anyone who does have a Dunkerque, the Izumo actually plays very, very similar to the Dunkerque, if not exactly the same. At least that's how I've been playing my Izumo and getting some fairly decent results with her. The only difference between the Dunkerque and the Izumo, obviously, is the Izumo has one more main battery, right? We've got 3 instead of the 2. Now, I know the Dunkerque has quad cannons and we've got triples here in the Izumo, but still, whatever. That extra turret, though, on the Izumo, as awkward as it kind of is, it actually is really nice. I did go with the turret traverse increase on my Izumo as opposed to the range increase module because I didn't think there was any need for it on the Izumo, given that her range is already like 21 kilometers or something like that once it's fully upgraded. So I went with the turret traverse increase and the reload increase as well. Or decrease, I suppose. And very, very happy. I find that this third turret swings around and I'm able to get a shot off at times when I figured, no, I'm just not going to get a shot off. Or, to compare it to the Dunkerque, at times in the Dunkerque when you're, maneuvering around and you're in a turn and your turrets aren't pointed in the right direction, the Izumo, this third turret, I find does get in the right direction and allows you to at least get a shot off while you're waiting for the other 2 main turrets to come around. So, there's that going on for her. The Izumo is pretty quick. Quick is used loosely there, about 30 knots. I mean, that's still decent for a battleship. It's not the fastest that we have in game at tier 9 in a battleship. I believe that title definitely goes to the oh, come on, Thotgor. The Iowa, yes. I'm not 100% sure if what the Missouri tops out at and if that's faster than the Iowa. I doubt she's faster than the Iowa, but still. Iowa, fastest tier 9 battleship in game that we have right now. But 30 knots is still definitely something you can work with. Now, the Izumo is a big ship. She's massive, so you do have to treat her as such. Her handling isn't terrific, but if you are, keeping your situational awareness up, you will easily be able to keep your guns on target, maneuver around the map as much as you need to or want to. At least that's what I found. I haven't really had that many issues with the Izumo and her maneuverability. Now, obviously, if I get myself into a situation where there are lots of little islands in and around, things could get a little more dangerous. But all in all, maneuverability is pretty good, I'd say. Survivability of the Izumo is quite good as well. I think we're into the 90s on the survivability of the Izumo, so that's pretty good. But this is sort of the area, the gray area, where everyone starts to get a little angry with the Izumo and very judgmental in the armor values and what the armor says it's going to do, what it actually does, and then what RNG does to all of that, right? Yeah, and I agree. I mean, there were times, or rather there have been times, now and I haven't played my Izumo very much, so, you know, take my opinions with a grain of salt, obviously. You know, my opinions may be completely wrong, right? So take that as you will. But it seems to me that, yeah, there are definitely times when shots come in and I think that I'm going to die and that it's all over because there's no way that that Montana could possibly miss me or overpenetrate me. And bam, overpenetrates and shots go right through. I take very little damage. There were other times when I would figure, no, there is no way that you could possibly get a whole bunch of damage, let alone do a citadel. And then blam, I get citadeled. So mixed bag on that. Overall, with my experience in the battles I've played in her, I've been happy. Haven't had too much to complain about, other than, you know, the ship is stock, and I just don't want her to be stock. It's fairly easy to tell a stock Izumo, if you're ever wondering. All you have to do is look at the secondary battery. Now, I do not mean the 3 Mogami turrets on the rear, those are always going to be there. I mean the secondary battery running along the port and starboard side of the ship at midships. The more of those you see, you'll know that, you know, it's not stock. So if you see it all maxed out and a bunch in there, well, it's not stock. If you see a few, like the 4 or 5 or 6 that I have now, yeah, stock. So fairly easy to tell as long as you're paying attention. Again, that comes down to situational awareness. So not too bad. Secondary battery. The secondary battery on the Izumo isn't bad. I mean, stock. It's not great, I can tell you that, but once she gets fully upgraded, it's not bad. The main thing here that we get on the Izumo is the first Japanese battleship to have the dual purpose secondary battery guns. These are secondary battery guns that will fire AA, or fire for AA, and for and against ships. Now we see these secondary battery guns, I think, on the Shuikaku is maybe where it first shows up, but we don't see them, at least this specific type, on any other Japanese ship until at least Tier 8 on the Shuikaku, I think is the one that gets it, but still. So these are some interesting turrets. They are fairly effective, you know, keeping in mind that the Japanese, we have some pretty decent AA. It's not the best in the game, but we do have some AA, so once the ship does get fully upgraded, we will have a little better defense. Now, how I went about modding out my ship in terms of the upgrades and stuff, I went everything for for main battery, because on the Izumo, it's going, for me anyway, when I play my Izumo, it's going to be about the main battery, not the secondary battery. When I get to the Yamato, that is when I'm going to want the secondary battery upgrades, because I'm going to want my Yamato to have, you know, decent secondary battery or amazing secondary battery, much like my Bismarck. But on the Izumo, no. It's all about the guns on the Izumo right now, for me anyway, because, well, I know the Yamato only gets 3 turrets as well, but still, with the placement of these turrets, you know, on the Izumo, it is all about the guns, all about dishing out this damage as much as you possibly can. So that's what I have equipped my Izumo with. So we see the poor Moskva there off in the distance, not sure what the player is doing. It's when you're into Moskva, it's generally never a good idea to come to a stop in front of a number of battleships. We get a nice citadel there on the Moskva, which isn't too bad. Could have went for another one, I suppose, but still, if we can quickly get the player down, this would be good, because this Moskva is a huge threat to myself and my allies around me. We can see we just lost an allied battleship, so that's not great. We do kind of have to retreat over here on the A side, so that is not good. We get 2 more nice citadels, maybe just 1 more citadel there on the old Moskva. Take out the player's engines, so perfect. We know at least now that the player does have to use the repair. We're coming over to the center of the map on Mountain Range here, and Mountain Range is a crazy map, isn't it? I'm kind of on the fence with Mountain Range as to whether or not I like it. Sometimes I do enjoy battling it out on Mountain Range, other times I just hate it. And yeah, I guess another mixed bag on that one, but still. So far in this battle, we haven't been doing too bad, but we do really need to, like, you know, regroup our forces here and do something. Either we're going to capture C or we're going to capture A. We can't just sit here with this B cap zone and expect to continue to win. So we do have to push somewhere, and we need to push somewhere hard. Now, you would think that the best place to do this would be A, and that's because, you know, that's where the majority of my allies are. But the enemies are also really over there on the west side of the map at A as well, and they want the point. So to push over there is going to end in one of two ways. One is the push will be successful and we break through the enemy lines and we take the point. The other is that the push is unsuccessful and we lose a good chunk of our firepower and ships. So need to be careful here. Now, we do have an enemy destroyer that pops up, and I was very concerned that I was suddenly going to start eating torpedoes, because that's generally what happens when an enemy torpedo pops up this close to a battleship. So we need to maneuver. Now, when I'm in a battleship and I'm in this sort of situation and an enemy destroyer pops up, I immediately turn bow into the destroyer. That is what I'm attempting to do. Now, in this case as well, I reduced throttle and turn because of the incoming torpedoes. Didn't want to take any of those torpedoes. And this is something else that kind of works well for the Izumo, is that she does seem to come to a stop quickly enough, not you know, as quick as a battleship can, but she does seem to slow down in the water pretty good. So that makes it, you know, gives you the option there of really using your throttle to slow down if you need to, just like I did. But yes, turning bow into the enemy destroyer, very important, because it's going to reduce the profile of your ship against the enemy torpedoes that are incoming, most likely, and give you the greatest possible chance of trying to avoid those torpedoes, right? It is much better to take one torpedo than it is to take a, you know, 3 or 4 and get yourself killed. That would suck. Anyway, managed to get the kill there at the last second on the enemy destroyer, which is fantastic. Now we're going to turn ourselves around, because I don't really want to continue going south and then come up from the south into the north back over to the A point. This kind of seems defeating because it's going to take a while for my ship to do this. Instead, using my situational awareness, recognizing that not too many enemy ships are actually firing at me, I'm going to turn, you know, back up to the north through the B cap. I know I'm exposing a broadside while I'm doing this, but again, situational awareness, not many people are shooting at me, not even spotted right now at this point in time, so I'm going to use this to my advantage and make my turn to the north as opposed to the south. Turn to the north is better because I can keep my guns on the enemies and help out my allies. I know we have a ship advantage at this time, and because of a courageous move by one of my allies as well, we do have the C cap zone. I still don't want to leave anything to chance. You can see we have a Yamato here off in the distance. Not only am I afraid of the Yamato, but I also do want to test out the Izumo against the Yamato. I figure that any incoming shots from the Yamato will obliterate me, but if the Izumo is not looking at me and in fact is looking at some of my allies, maybe I can get some cheeky shots into the player and do a bunch of damage, because I'm definitely able to dish out a crap ton of damage here against this Yamato if the player plays ball, and it looks like the player is going to. We have the Yamato basically broadside to me now. You can see, you know, holding off my shots there, waiting for the player to finish the turn or come into a better angle on me, and there we go. Get a nice citadel on the Yamato, take the player down to pretty low health. We do need to keep focused on this Yamato though, because even though he's on this amount of health, we do still want to be careful. That Yamato could start repairing and quickly gain back some hit points, and then suddenly it's not going to be as easy to kill him. Something to keep in mind with the Izumo as well, the good angling that the turret placement gives you, right? Or the options for angling, I should say. Because the turrets are on the front of the ship like that, you have an excellent opportunity to always be driving at an angle away from your enemies while still having all 3 main turrets focused on the enemy. Really good placement of these turrets for those purposes, right? Whether you're going bow onto someone and you're at a little bit of an angle to get the 3rd turret out there, or whether you're sailing away from someone, maybe kiting someone with these 3 turrets and the placement of them, you're going to be able to get maximum firepower on these enemies, which is good. Now, I would recommend, I mentioned it earlier, I got the, because it's a tier 9 vessel, I get an extra module slot, and in that module slot, you can, there's, I think, 3 modules you can choose from, but the 2 that are the most important, I guess, is the range increase, 20% increase to your range, or the decrease to your loading time and the decrease to turret traverse. In the Izumo, again, take the decrease to your loading and turret traverse. With this extra turret traverse, and it'll even get better for me here once this battle is over and my captain's retrained, it really does help out getting these turrets swung around to the actual target that you need them to be firing at, right? Very important that I think that you get this for your Izumo. It'll make life very easy for you. A few more citadels there on the enemy North Carolina off in the distance. Fantastic. We have a few more enemy ships remaining, but for the most part, my team just has to stay alive and continue to harass the enemies. With the 2 cap points that we have and the enemy's reluctance to move out of A, we pretty much have this one in the bag, which is great. Because I've got a bit of damage going on, so, you know, I was pretty excited to see what the end results would be for me. This battle was also played on the weekend during the, I think it was ×2 experience or something for every victory, so that is good. Very happy with that. Speaking of which, how's everyone making out with their Graf Spee missions? Yes, I've got mine all completed, just waiting for more time to pass so that you can actually get them done. But looking forward to getting the Graf Spee. I've encountered her a few times in battle already. Thank you to my ally, Destroyer, who swooped in and gave me smoke. That is amazing. I do see Destroyer captains do it, and you guys are the heroes, man. When you come in with that smoke and save the day, it's amazing. But anyway, yeah, I've seen a few Graf Spee. They seem interesting. Definitely not something that you can just charge off and you know, go off alone. It does seem to play the typical cruiser support role. You do need to be with your allies to make it really work for you. Get some more damage into the enemy German battleship there, which is great. I do get myself a nice Confederate medal as well, sitting at about 162,000 damage now. Our team has basically won. We have just a few more points. There we go, 1,000, and we win. Perfect. Yeah, the Izumo. I like the Izumo. From what I have played with her so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. We can see 162,000 damage dealt, 12,000 experience earned, 453,000 credits. The Confederate, a few citadels, some kills. Not a bad game overall. Top of the team overall with over 2,000 base experience, which is always good to see, of course. And then in terms of the damage breakdown, we can see, not too bad. Did a lot of damage to that enemy destroyer there, or at least I was the only one to do a lot of damage to that player, mostly because I took him out on my own, which is pretty great. I'm pretty excited about, because, you know, I was in a battleship. When all is said and done, I do end up walking away with over 200,000 credits. And again, that 12,000 experience, which is great, because I am, of course, still researching on the Izumo, still trying to get things unlocked for her. But yeah, that is the video today. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. I love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.